The Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam. Wake, for the sun who scattered into flight the stars before him from the field of night, drives night along with them from heaven and strikes the Sultan's turret with a shaft of light. Before the phantom of false morning died, methought a voice within the tavern cried, "When all the temple is prepared within, why nods the drowsy worshipper outside?" And as the cock crew, those who stood before the tavern shouted, "Open then the door, you know how little while we have to stay, and once departed may return no more."
Now the new year reviving old desires, the thoughtful soul to solitude retires, where the white hand of Moses on the bough puts out and Jesus from the ground suspires. He rolled his rose, and Jamshid's seven-ringed cup where no one knows, but still a ruby kindles in the vine, and many a garden by the water blows. And David's lips are locked, but in divine high-piping Pelevi, with wine, 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 red wine, the nightingale cries to the rose, that sallow cheek of hers to incarnadine.
Come, fill the cup, and in the fire of spring your winter garment of repentance fling. The bird of time has but a little way to flutter, and the bird is on the wing. Whether at Nishapur or Babylon, whether the cup with sweet or bitter run, the wine of life keeps oozing drop by drop, the leaves of life keep falling one by one. Each morn 1,000 roses brings, you say, yes, but where leaves the rose of yesterday? And this first summer month that brings the rose shall take Jamshid and Kaikobad away.
Well, let it take them. What have we to do with Kaikobad the Great or Kaikhoshru? Let Zal and Rustum bluster as they will, or Hatim call to supper, heed not you. With me along the strip of herbage strown that just divides the desert from the sown, where name of slave and sultan is forgot, and peace to Mahmud on his golden throne. A book of verses underneath the bough, a jug of wine, a loaf of bread, and thou, beside me, singing in the wilderness. O wilderness where paradise are now.
Some for the glories of this world, and some sigh for the prophet's paradise to come. Ah, take the cash and let the credit go, nor heed the rumble of a distant drum. Look to the blowing rose about us. Lo, laughing, she says, into the world I blow. At once the silken tassel of my purse tear, and its treasure on the garden throw. And those who husbanded the golden grain, and those who flung it to the winds like rain, alike to no such aureate earth are turned, as buried once, men want dug up again.
The worldly hope men set their hearts upon turns ashes, or it prospers, and anon, like snow upon the desert's dusty face, lighting a little hour or two, is gone. Think in this battered caravanserai, whose portals are alternate night and day, how Sultan after Sultan with his pomp abode his destined hour and went his way. They say the lion and the lizard keep the courts where Jamshid gloried and drank deep, and Bahram, that great hunter, the wild ass stamps o'er his head, but cannot break his sleep.
I sometimes think that never blows so red the rose as where some buried Caesar bled, that every hyacinth the garden wears dropped in her lap from some once loved head. And this reviving herb whose tender green fledges the river lip on which we lean, ah, lean upon it lightly, for who knows from what once lovely lip it springs unseen. Ah, my beloved, fill the cup that clears today of past regrets and future fears. Tomorrow, why, tomorrow I may be myself with yesterday's 7,000 years.
For some we loved the loveliest and the best, that from his vintage rolling time hath pressed, have drunk their cup a round or two before, and one by one crept silently to rest. And we that now make merry in the room they left, and summer dresses in new bloom, ourselves must we beneath the couch of earth descend, ourselves to make a couch, for whom? Ah, make the most of what we yet may spend, before we too into the dust descend. Dust into dust, and under dust to lie. Sans wine, sans song, sans singer, and sans end.
Alike for those who for today prepare, and those that after some tomorrow stare. A Muezzin from the tower of darkness cries, "Fools, your reward is neither here nor there." Why, all the saints and sages who discussed of the two worlds so wisely, they are thrust like foolish prophets forth. Their words to scorn are scattered, and their mouths are stopped with dust. Myself, when young, did eagerly frequent doctor and saint, and heard great argument about it and about, but evermore came out by the same door wherein I went.
With them the seed of wisdom did I sow, and with mine own hand wrought to make it grow. And this was all the harvest that I reaped. I came like water, and like wind I go. Into this universe, and why not knowing, nor whence like willy-nilly flowing. And out of it as wind along the waste, I know not whither, willy-nilly blowing. What without asking, hither hurried whence? And without asking, whither hurried hence? Oh, many a cup of this forbidden wine must drown the memory of that insolence.
Up from earth's centre through the seventh gate I rose, and on the throne of Saturn sate. And many a knot unravelled by the road, but not the master knot of human fate. There was the door to which I found no key. There was the veil through which I might not see. Some little talk a while of me and thee there was, and then no more of thee and me. Earth could not answer, nor the seas that mourn in flowing purple of their Lord forlorn, nor rolling heaven with all his signs revealed and hidden by the sleep of night and morn.
Then of the thee in me who works behind the veil I lifted up my hands to find a lamp amid the darkness, and I heard as from without the me within thee blind. Then to the lip of this poor earthen urn I leaned, the secret of my life to learn, and lip to lip it murmured, "While you live, drink, for once dead you never shall return." I think the vessel that with fugitive articulation answered once did live, and drink. And ah, the passive lip I kissed, how many kisses might it take and give?
For I remember stopping by the way to watch a potter thumping his wet clay, and with its all obliterated tongue it murmured, "Gently, brother, gently pray." And has not such a story from of old down man's successive generations rolled, of such a clod of saturated earth cast by the Maker into human mould? And not a drop that from our cups we throw for earth to drink of, but may steal below to quench the fire of anguish in some eye there hidden, far beneath and long ago.
As then the tulip for her morning sup of heavenly vintage from the soil looks up, do you devoutly do the like till heaven to earth invert you like an empty cup? Perplexed no more with human or divine, tomorrow's tangle to the winds resign, and lose your fingers in the tresses of the cypress slender minister of wine. And if the wine you drink, the lip you press, end in what all begins and ends in yes, think then you are today what yesterday you were. Tomorrow you shall not be less.
So when that angel of the darker drink at last shall find you by the river brink, and offering his cup invite your soul forth to your lips to quaff, you shall not shrink. Why, if the soul can fling the dust aside, and naked on the air of heaven ride, were't not a shame for him in this clay carcass crippled to abide? 'Tis but a tent where takes his one day's rest a sultan to the realm of death addressed. The sultan rises, and the dark Farash strikes, and prepares it for another guest.
And fear not lest existence closing your account and mine should know the like no more. The eternal Saki from that bowl has poured millions of bubbles like us, and will pour. When you and I behind the veil are past, Oh, but the long, long while the world shall last, which of our coming and departure heeds, as the sea's self should heed a pebble cast? A moment's halt, a momentary taste of being from the well amid the waste, and lo, the phantom caravan has reached the nothing it set out from. Oh, make haste.
Would you that spangle of existence spend about the secret? Quick about it, friend. A hair perhaps divides the false and true, and upon what, prithee, may life depend? A hair perhaps divides the false and true, yes, and a single alif were the clue, could you but find it, to the treasure house, and peradventure to the master too, whose secret presence through creation's veins, running quicksilver-like, eludes your pains, taking all shapes from Ma to Mahi, and they change and perish all, but he remains.
A moment guessed, then back behind the fold, immersed of darkness round the drama rolled, which for the pastime of eternity he doth himself contrive, enact, behold. But if in vain, down on the stubborn floor of earth, and up to heaven's unopening door, you gaze today while you are you, how then tomorrow, you, when shall be you no more? Waste not your hour, nor in the vain pursuit of this and that endeavour and dispute. Better be jocund with the fruitful grape than sadden after none or bitter fruit.
You know, my friends, with what a brave carouse I made a second marriage in my house, divorced old barren reason from my bed, and took the daughter of the vine to spouse. For is and is not, though with rule and line, and up and down by logic I define, of all that one should care to fathom, I was never deep in anything but wine. Ah, but my computations, people say, reduced the year to better reckoning. Nay, 'twas only striking from the calendar, unborn tomorrow, and dead yesterday.
And lately by the tavern door agape came shining through the dusk an angel shape, bearing a vessel on his shoulder, and he bid me taste of it, and 'twas the grape that can with logic absolute the 72 jarring sects confute, the sovereign alchemist that in a trice life's leaden metal into gold transmute, the mighty Mahmud, Allah breathing Lord, that a chord of fears and sorrows that infest the soul scatters before him with his whirlwind sword.
Why, be this juice the growth of God? Who dare blaspheme the twisted tendril as a snare? A blessing, we should use it, should we not? And if a curse, why then, who set it there? I must abjure the balm of life, I must, scared by some after-reckoning ta'en on trust, or lured with hope of some diviner drink to fill the cup when crumbled into dust. Oh, threats of hell and hopes of paradise, one thing at least is certain, this life flies. One thing is certain, and the rest is lies. The flower that once has blown forever dies.
Strange is it not, that of the myriads who before us passed the door of darkness through, not one returns to tell us of the road which to discover we must travel to. The revelations of devout and learned who rose before us, and as prophets burned, are all but stories, which awoke from sleep, they told their comrades, and to sleep returned.